Not a single thing he said is accurate. That's a bizarre
That's why we
statement.
want to make sure. No,
I don't know what world these guys are in. What are they talking about? I wish he would just be a little more candid.
And our allies are less willing to...
With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey.
It's courtesy of The Daily Show. A look at Vice President Biden's folksy ways of calling Paul Ryan a liar in the last vice presidential debate. So Joe Biden clearly having fun there. Clearly he'd like to be reenacting that scene in 2016 against the Republican presidential nominee. Maybe Paul Ryan, maybe somebody else. But let's just, the reality check on all of this is, we'll put it up, and you've probably seen numbers like this. National Democratic poll, who do you want to be your party's candidate in 2016? I mean, look at that. Hillary Clinton, 58. Biden, sitting vice president, sitting two-term vice president, not even in second place behind Elizabeth Warren at 9. They're 49 points behind Hillary Clinton. It really is unprecedented in the modern era to have a vice president who's this interested in running, who you see the numbers for.
It's clear the Democrats have a male problem, so they got to work that out. So they need to figure out how to work that male demographic. No, I think that poll reflects a couple of things. One is, at least among Democratic voters, they have their sights set on Hillary. But more importantly, they have their sights set on a woman for that role, for that position. And so that's what he's going to be up against. So
the question is, does he, I mean, I think the assumption a lot of people have is he ultimately looks at that and says, if she runs, I'm not going to run, if nothing else, because that could be really humbling.
I would not say if she runs, I'm not going to run. Look back how many years ago when we saw Barack Obama versus the Clinton machine.
It wasn't that
lopsided. But we thought Rudy Giuliani would have been president by now. We thought Chris Christie could have had a chance by now. So you can't, anything can happen between now and then. But I'm going to say this, that 58%, that is the Clinton machine. That is also, going to your point, a female, the possibility of another first. Once Barack Obama leaves the White House as president of the United States, the balloon will lose a lot of air. The reason why? Because we either love to love him or love to hate him. And he was a first. This nation is still on a high about Rockstar and the first.
How about the first Delaware president? That could excite you.
Well, how many people are in Delaware?
They said all over the campaign trail last time, I think he's Pennsylvanian, right? That's what they said.
Right.
So, I mean, I think also the polls are so early now. People who are watching this stuff are really engaged in politics. I think who are really paying attention to it. And, you know, Biden's run for president twice and didn't really do very well when he ran for president the last two times. I think that, you know, once we get closer to the campaign, once we get closer to the actual discussing of this stuff, I think it's easy to see those kind of numbers change around. Biden he can own a lot of the Obama story more than other people can. He can fire Democrats that way.
He might actually run against her?
I don't know if he's going to do it, but I think that he probably I mean, he definitely seems, all interviews that he's done, he seems to think that he could do it.
But Michael, I mean, you, as a politician, you can maybe speak to this. I mean, I just look at it from the standpoint of somebody like Joe Biden has to factor in his image, his legacy long term. If you're the sitting vice president for 2 terms and you run for president and those numbers hold up and you go in and you lose 20 primaries by 40 points to Hillary Clinton, doesn't there at some point a calculation's got to kick in there? Like, I don't want my name attached to that in history?
Yeah, very quick calculation kicks in at that point. But I think you have it right, April, that the bottom line is, once we get past this November 14th, 2014 cycle, so December 1st, the presidential sweepstakes begin. The poll numbers will be moving around and shifting. I think as you get into 2015 and the numbers begin to settle a little bit, we'll see Biden's people will assess where he is in relative Hillary Clinton. Does that 58% peel back a little bit? I think you're right. There's a lot of the first and sort of the idea of, you know, sort of the rock star element of having a female nominee. But these are sobering times for a lot of Americans. Yes. The economy, war and peace questions, social issues, and how I think Biden assesses and does in dealing with those issues. And that's why what he's doing right now in foreign policy matters. His voice in this conversation matters. People take note of that. I think a broader, beyond Democrat poll would be interesting, looking at a national poll to see where Biden sits. And I think that's what his people are waiting to see.
Yeah, and the scenario that I've wondered about, too, is, you know, what about, who says Hillary Clinton can't say to Joe Biden a couple of years from now, you know, you've done such a good job as vice president, stick around.
But who wants wants to stay in that same vein, in that same seat when you're
But maybe that's the graceful way out of it. I don't know. It's
you get a plane. I mean, it's not so bad.
But apparently, according to this article, it's not that good.
Yeah, a plane. Yeah, but the cooler.
Instead of a cooler, right? Air Force One.
He has a nice house.
Air Force One is nice. It is a nice house. We drove past it this weekend. Anyway, that's why we come down to D.C. to see the Vice President's house. My thanks to Michael Steele, April Ryan, Evan McMorris-Santoro.